Good day, sir. I will discuss about the case studies of good practices in Philippine multigrade schools conducted in 2018, were part of the review of the multigrade program in Philippine education under the project Technical Support to Multigrade Program in Philippine Education. The project is the first to be undertaken under a tripartite agreement among the Department of Education, UNICEF, and Simeo Enutech. The case studies of good practices in Philippine multigrade schools aim to look into how multigrade schools in diverse learning environment are able to deliver quality education to disadvantaged learners. They use classroom observations and focus group discussions to validate the effectiveness of multigrade program in the Philippine education as delivery modality of primary education and to gather detailed evidence of accomplishments, innovations, and good practices of selected well-performing grade schools benchmarked with DepEd standards. Here are some good practices witnessed in the field. Number 1, use of indigenous people's education support infrastructure. Number 2, use of diverse instructional strategies. Number 3, effective use of information and communication technology in multigrade instructional delivery. And number 4, Montessori-inspired teaching and learning resources. The first good practices is the use of indigenous people's education support infrastructure. Pulian Elementary School, Ifugao. Pulian Elementary School is an upland pure multigrade school in Lagawe, Ifugao that serves 47 learners belonging to the Ayangan Ifugao indigenous people. The school is outfitted with what it calls a multi-learning center with a reading corner, a computer room courtesy of the DepEd computerization program, laboratory, and mini museum. Students come here during free time or use these facilities during class to maximize learning and enjoy their lessons. Ayangan costumes, practices, and symbols used during rituals are exhibited at the mini museum to promote Ifugao heritage and cultural awareness among students. The Council of Elders are always being invited to classes to Ayangan folklore with the students. This teaches students to respect their ethnicity and be proud of their heritage. In this way, indigenous people education is integrated in the multigrade education curriculum. But despite having these facilities, the school had to work with the resources available to them to contextualize these resources and address the need of their learners. The teachers showed creativity in localizing teaching materials through visual aids that depict their intangible heritage, including songs and poems in the mother tongue to explain concepts on various subjects. One teacher mentioned that she applies interactive learning through board work for group activities in science. Another kind of innovation evident in this classroom was the use of teacher-made indigenous learning materials like wooden blocks and real objects. The contextualized alphabet in Ayangan language was also noticeable inside the kinder, grade 1 and grade 2 classroom. The teachers also reported that they have been using reading materials donated by UNICEF. They found these materials effective in improving reading comprehension among pupils as they designed developmentally according to students' abilities. Aside from using educational videos, they prepare appropriate learner materials using Manila paper or colored paper to enhance the pupil understanding of the lessons. Next is the use of diverse instructional strategies in Lopero Elementary School, Zamboanga del Norte. Lopero Elementary School is a full-fledged multi-grade school which has been supported by the Coca-Cola Foundation Little Red Schoolhouse program since 1997. Through unique classroom structures, the pupil's environment is organized to promote effective learning. The seating arrangement of pupils allow for mobility and convenience during classroom activities that involve approaches like whole class teaching, subject integration, peer learning, and grouping. Seating is arranged by grade level in the back-to-back setup with two blackboards facing opposite sides used by each grade level. There was evidence of orderliness and system in organizing class activities such as role-playing, individual tasks, board work, paperwork, and group presentation. The teacher gave clear instruction for all the activities and made sure everyone understood them. The teacher encouraged the pupils to participate during class discussions by asking critical questions. The teacher monitored the pupils' outputs, kept on pressing the pupils for giving the correct answers, and ended the base lesson by giving homework. Lopero Elementary School uses diverse instructional strategies with a K-12 curriculum and based on pupils' needs. The teacher in charge proudly shared that the teachers of Lopero implemented several multigrade teaching strategies that enable them to address the needs of each pupil according to their age, interest, capacities, and capabilities. These strategies include subject grouping. The teacher said that to finish their daily lessons, teachers usually go beyond the allotted 60-minute contact time for each subject. To meet all the required competencies of K-12 curriculum, the school adopts subject grouping. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are for Science and ESP, while Tuesday and Thursday are for English, Math, and other subjects. Explicit teaching. The teacher mentioned that one of the most effective teaching practices at Libero Elementary School is explicit teaching in the form of guided practice, drills, reviews, motivation, and model teaching. They find explicit teaching effective in teaching mathematics using the teacher's guide from DepEd's Learning Resources portal, students' worksheets, and other teacher-made learning materials. For the lower grades, the challenge lies in the use of mother tongue and explaining math concepts. With the teacher's guide in English and students' worksheet in Bisaya, the teacher translates lesson in the language that would be most understood. Model teaching and scaffolding. Model teaching in Lopero Elementary School involves presenting examples while students listen and discuss the sample topic that is similar to the activity that the students and the teacher will do together. Once the concept is mastered by the students, the teacher gradually assumes the role of the facilitator and allows the student to work independently. IP education integration. Another strategy is the integration of the indigenous people's core values and culture in the lesson. The multigrade coordinator of Zamboanga del Norte mentioned that to promote indigenous people's education, the division encouraged the multigrade teachers to integrate the core values and cultural practices of the indigenous people in their lesson plans. One example is integrating indigenous organic rice practices in teaching science. Multigrade tapped the elders from Subahan tribe to share about their values, culture, and traditional practices in class as appropriate for the day's lesson. The third practices is the effective use of information and communication technology in multigrade instructional delivery. Pangil Elementary School, Ilocos Norte. In Pangil Elementary School, Teachers cited the benefits of using ICT in their lessons. They were able to download multigrade materials suited to their lesson from DepEd's Learning Resources portal and access additional information about their lesson using the Racial Pi gadget provided by the division. Instead of spending 2 to 3 hours making visual aids, all they need was a few minutes to search and download appropriate materials for the lesson objectives. This lets them devote more time teaching the subject. The teacher said that using ICT created more fun and enjoyable learning experience for the pupils. It also encouraged pupils to actively participate in class discussions such that knowledge retention and pupils' interest in the subject matter increased. The multigrade used PowerPoint presentation of the lesson content and activities. The presentation was uploaded to a TV screen during class discussion, which makes the pupils excited about the lesson. Pupils in the higher grade levels were given tasks to work on using the netbook, and here the teacher appeared comfortable in using ICT in teaching. The teachers also tried to relate the class activities to learners' interests and experiences, resulting in a more interactive exchange. They saw this in the use of web application that allows the learners to engage with the information from the teacher's netbook. Aside from this, a smart TV, multimedia presentation, and the internet are examples of technology tools that the teachers use for effective multigrade teaching. The fourth practices is the Montessori-inspired teaching and learning resources in Dao Primary School, Siargao. The multigrade classroom of Dao Primary School looks like a Montessori classroom where teacher made big books, supplementary reading materials, and other instructional aids such as cutouts, charts, and pictures are readily available to stimulate pupils' independent learning and promote collaborative learning. On one side of the classroom is a space where pupils can freely read alone or play with a variety of manipulative materials. This is often used by the kindergarten pupils who come to school early. Instead of playing outside, the teacher allows the pupils to work with charts and flashcards on the left side of the room. There is a reading space suited to group activity which has been designed with colorful alphabet floor mats and walls decorated with bright colored posters and other teacher-made resources. In a multi-grade setting, it is vital to provide the right physical layout design for groupings and flexibility. An attractive classroom also creates a stimulating environment for learning. In Dao Elementary School, it has inspired pupils to actively engage in class activities and discussions. The first grader appeared to enjoy role-playing, while second graders focused on practicing their writing skills. Aside from the textbooks from DepEd, the fascinating objects, attractive letter displays, handmade flashcards, and visual aids, interesting reading corner with information bits, bright colored posters were made available to enhance the pupils' learning experiences and for a child to appreciate learning. The handmade teaching and learning materials were beautifully made by the teacher and the parents. Other learning and teaching materials present in the school are the projectors, the science and math equipment, table balance and speaker, and a printer.